are now doing and creating a Chayil conversation with Caroline Marsh. I am so excited about this event because we're going to be talking about from riches to rags and then from rags to riches. And this story will change your life. I know it's going to give you hope, and not only does hope, but we are also going to give you something practical to take you from where you are to where you really want to be. And so welcome, Caroline, to this conversation. And first of all, just getting to know you, even from a little girl, tell me about where you were born and your parents.
Thank you, Dr. Pat, for having me online. What an honor for me to be on Chayil Conversations. I was born and brought up in Africa, in Zambia, and I grew up there. Both my parents had really good jobs until when I was 13, when my father, who at the time was my greatest inspiration, unfortunately, he died. And so life then became quite difficult. So we went from riches to rags because everything else just changed in an instant, yes.
So did you have to give up your home? What are some of the things you had to give up?
What was the challenge was just a change of lifestyle, number one, because obviously, I went to a really good school as, primary education. And unfortunately, when my father died, that meant that I was having to change schools and go to not such a very good school. And my mother, it was quite hard because she then had to look after 4 children on her own, including some of her other family members that she was looking after. So life became tough. She was now a single mother, and being a single mother with a single income, and yet the responsibility almost doubles overnight. That became a big challenge. And of course, as children, we then suffered being able to see mom struggling, and life just became really tough.
And, Caroline, I can see that that's one of the reasons why you have always wanted to help your brothers and sisters and cousins and help others, because you know what it's like to be in a family situation where the needs are there and the needs are great. And so did you end up going to college and university?
Actually, I didn't. No, I didn't. When I was growing up, my passion was to actually become an air hostess. And so that was my dream. And my mother at the time was quite disappointed because she hoped that I would become, end up as a doctor or some intelligent profession. And of course, I didn't end up becoming any of those things. But the reason why I'm so passionate about helping others is I have seen, how life can be so hard. And I'm sure many people resonate, especially if you're maybe of African descent, is because we live as a community. And therefore, if one person is affected, it's almost as if everybody else is affected. And so my idea was, if I could better myself, if I could get better, then I'll help my mother, I help my brothers, and of which, that then became what happened actually, because a few years later, I had an opportunity of becoming an air hostess. And I applied for this job and got the job, and I was one of the 10. And the thing with the particular job was it allowed me to do 2 things. One, enhance my family's lifestyle, but the second part was then to be a blessing to other people as well. And I say to my mom, you don't have to work anymore. You don't have to struggle, because now I can, do these things, and our lives have been bettered here.
Wow. It's, the heart again, because we want to talk about the heart, because we're going to eventually talk about how you move from rag to riches, but to maintain the same heart, the heart of helping people, and the heart where money did not corrupt you, but actually it empowered you. And so it's very important for us to understand the difference between money being a corruptive agent or money becoming an empowering agent. So tell me now, Caroline, how you met your husband.
I met my husband very strange, because I was working for this airline, and the airline went on for about 3.5 years. And unfortunately, it went under. It went into voluntary liquidation. So I went to the liquidator's office trying to get money from the liquidator's office. I walked into this room, and this man was so busy. And I just say to him, look, all I want is my money, and I'll be out of your environment. And little did I know that he actually, he was attracted to me. And I walked out of that place with 2 things: my paycheck that I went there for, on a date. So, he then did what
Wow.
he could do, and then the rest is history. I fell in love with him, and he's my husband today, and that's how come Michael and I then met. Yes.
Yes. And then, so then you went to England after that because your husband is an Englishman
That's
and
right.
actually you're working in the economic system of Zambia from where you come. And
Mhm.
so here it is now, you come back home with your husband.
Yeah.
And so was life then totally rosy now after you went through your romantic, one of these movie type situation? What happened in England?
Well, a lot happened in England. Obviously, we moved to England for better opportunities. So he obviously is an accountant by profession. And so for him, you had to get into a job. Now, for me, I had to find my feet. I was in a strange country, not knowing how life works, learning about the systems. But then the other part was, we'd been married. So I was looking forward to actually starting and having family. And tried to have a baby, and unfortunately it didn't happen, and tried again, and then I felt pregnant, and unfortunately had miscarriage, and that was so destroying for me. And I began to ask, questions about the meaning for my life, and asking God, if there is a God, why has this happened? And that led to me becoming saved, and that's when I met God. So all this time, I've had God's hand on, over my life, being favored everywhere. However, that time when I made up my mind to, begin to seek him and serve God, everything else changed. And, I met God and I began to pursue him and learning more about God. I know as I was seeking after him, he was drawing me closer to himself, because then it became a relationship that I was after. It wasn't a religious practice of just going to church because you grew up in a Christian home. It was actually seeking for, if there is a God, he will do the good things for me. And if there is evil, he will protect me as a God and do the good thing for me.
Wow. And that is important, Caroline, because you talk about relationship versus religion. Because a lot of time you can go to a temple, you can go to a church, you can go to anything, and just for the religious thing. But now what you found was a relationship with God. And in that seek for relationship, then you wanted to know, by the way, you got pregnant again and you had a beautiful baby boy, and you have a beautiful son right now, a great son. And so with you became then a housewife and a mother at home with your son. And then something stirred you to want to find out, well, what about you? What about your life? Is there a purpose? Tell us about that search.
The search started because obviously, I love being a mom, I love being a housewife, and we do have two other boys, amazing boys as well. So that was great, but there was something else that I was seeking for and asking God, what is my next thing to do? And I took out some time to pray, because I believe then that, in praying and fasting, you get to hear the voice of God, because you draw yourself closer to God. And so I went on a 3-day fast. And that time that I was going on that fast, Michael was going on to a business conference in Malta. So I accompanied him just so I could separate myself. And it was at that conference. Then he said to me on the second day, do you want to come and be a part of our business conference? And I felt, no, I can't be a part of it, because for me, it's not my thing. I'm not, educated. I don't have the business acumen. But anyway, I went. And so on the second day is where I had an encounter with God, because the speaker that was talking during that session talked about property investments and how you can maximize on rental income. And I heard clearly God's telling me, connect with him. And this is the man. And that then became, everything else changed from that time onwards, because he then worked with me and helped me.
And what you're saying now is, thank God you have a great husband that encourage you. Never mind, you're not a businesswoman and you don't have an MBA like him.
That's true.
Yeah, but he encouraged you, come out. And of course, you thought you were going for vacation and prayer. But then he encouraged you to come down and listen. And what we're seeing here is that we are one relationship from new possibilities.
Absolutely.
Because you heard this speaker,
Mm-hmm.
something inside of you jumped, and
Mm-hmm.
you had a moment where you said, I've got to connect, and you heard God leading you and say, go and connect with that man. Now, in your mind, you were the most unlikely person, and you were the least among all these business people, and yet God is telling you, no, you go connect with him because you have been praying. And so you connected with this man, and then you found favor, right?
Absolutely.
Because favor is one of our Chayil pillars, and
Mm-hmm.
favor is a force. First of all, our Chayil pillar of worship, God became your source. You became his servant. You asked him to lead you in your life, and then he is now going to give you wisdom strategies. But the favor now, when the student is ready, the teacher appear. So you approach this man, and the man just ended up you having lunch with him, correct?
That's correct. So in fact, I said to him that I was going to pay for the lunch because I was there and I heard God and I felt, I mean, I was nervous on the inside of me and I would not, pretend as if I was so bold and confident to say I can do this thing. But I went out there believing if God is speaking, I better act. And so therefore I was courageous enough to say, I'll do what I got to do and go out there. We had the lunch, had the conversation. He then said to me he would come and mentor me and become a professional business mentor. And I realized, okay, this is what, if God has spoken, the spiritual side, I know he's telling me what to do. And I think before then, I read the story of Boaz and hearing how, Ruth connected to Boaz. So I thought, this must be my way too of how having someone, as you have said, the relationship that will connect me to my next level. And so, of course, Steve then came and worked with me as the man to give me the skill because I lacked skill. I lacked no strategy. I did not understand how business worked. Even though I had prayer, I didn't have the practicalities of it.
Wow.
He then came and worked with me and said, well, I will give you what it takes. He's not a Christian, but he is the man that fears and loves God, well, loves and respects my opinion and my belief in God.
And so he was now going to give you the skill. I like what you're saying. Prayer is great because it opened the doors for opportunity, but then we need training and we need skill for the next level. And so you ended up engaging him as a mentor into your new possibility, and he was guiding you how you can move into financial prosperity and financial success. And so he became a mentor. And so then you had to study, and what program did you enter with him?
So we did a franchise. First of all, it was a franchise agreement where I would go and work with him because I believed if I didn't have the knowledge, therefore he gave me the business in a box. So basically saying this is how it works, and therefore I would do the mentorship program. So we did one-on-one for like 5 days, and then at the end of the 5 days, I had the ongoing support for a year, and that went into a franchise, and I was his franchise partner for 5 years. So it was having, the God factor, the practicalities, the mentorship to help me with my mindset, because my thinking wasn't quite that way. So it was having the level of support in every way. So then success becomes the next inevitable thing.
Right. And part of mentorship, I'm finding when I'm working with people is to shift their mind, because you can't take a person beyond their own mind. And, this can be so powerful because the person could be very academic, but still have a weak mind. And they don't even see themselves as who God sees them. So it's all about the mind that shifts you into becoming who you are. A bud become a rose, and the shifting of the mind. So he shifts your mind. And one of the things he told you, Caroline, is what is your desire? He even tell you what to desire.
That's right. So the whole program, we have to start from somewhere because he has to establish what my goals and objectives were. So he asked me, what do you want out of it? What do you want to see out of it? What is the whole purpose of us doing the mentorship? Not just about the money. So what are you desiring? What will be the impact? What will your life look like? And if it's in terms of money, what then for? Because sometimes you can be pursuing money for the wrong reasons. So it was
Right.
really a values question. And then me saying, I want to establish a property business that will actually impact people's lives, but also enhance my life and be able to take care so I can be blessed to be a blessing and do what I believe to be doing. So, that desire then became the thing that gave me the push to say, now I will go for it. Because once you're anchored in desire, then the rest becomes, what do I do to keep
So
going?
what did he tell you to desire? What did
So
he say?
so
Did
we
he
look
tell
at
you to desire to be a rich person or a millionaire or what? What did he tell you?
So he asked me what was your desire, and I came up with a small goal and said to me, why don't you set yourself a goal to become a millionaire? And I was like, really, me, a millionaire? And then what? But then it was that thinking that got me thinking, well, actually, why not? Why not me? Why can't I then become, a millionaire? I didn't realize I would do it that quickly, I have to say, but it was all God's favor because.
Yes, and you're still talking about somebody who didn't go to college or university, and yet you went into school, practical schooling that help you to practical, because you can go to college and you can have your degrees and still don't become a millionaire because you don't have the mindset, you don't have the coaching, and you're not intentional enough about your life. So you did become a millionaire, and this coach that came into your life, and your husband supported you all the way. He supported you to take the course and to have this mentor and coach. And of course, your husband is an accountant and a businessman already, so you have support. And then you became a millionaire, but then he recommended you for to become one of the shows in the UK, Secret Millionaire.
That's correct. Yes. Again, I think it's all part of God. And I always see myself as if I'm, the plan that God has for my life as the Esther, where it's like a setup. Is that it set me up. I've been through all these things, but ultimately for something even greater. Because a year, I think it was 2 years later, actually, 2008. He himself wanted to be on the Secret Millionaire program, so he approached him and asked them, could he participate and be a part of the program? They did the interview and said, you know what, Steve, you don't actually qualify, but do you know anybody else? And so he said, well, actually, yes, I do. And he put my name forward. Now, in our community, I was the least millionaire because we have people that were super wealthy, and he didn't even go after them. And I thought, well, why me? He says, well, you know what? Because, in fact, it was a time when I was praying. It was a January. And he even said to me, have you been praying? I said, of course I've been praying. No, because your God has answered you. And so all of it happened. I got a call from Channel 4, the TV program. And in no time, did the interview. They said, you know what? You're the best candidate for it. We have you on. And I was one of the second woman to ever appear on the program. And before that, we never had, it's all male dominated. It's all very wealthy people. Here we are, and did it for me.
Wow, this is a God thing. With God, all things are possible. You are Black, you are African, you're living in the UK.
I don't even have the qualifications.
And you don't have the qualifications, you don't have your MBA, you don't have degrees like the Fahrenheit scale. And here you are on the Secret Millionaire being featured because you're a vessel of God. And this is why, Caroline, we're going to talk about wealth creation with a purpose and how God is looking for the Carolines, rags to riches. And then he took you from riches to rags. And then he took you from rags back to riches beyond what you were with your father. And so now you're a millionaire and you're helping other people as well if they want to understand the journey to their own wealth creation. And so when we think of Caroline, of this, then I'm believing that God is looking for another son and another daughter, and it's never too late for a breakthrough. So if you look at some of the strategies that you learned, then number one, have a desire. Number two, study to show yourself approved. And number three, have the faith to step out
Mhm.
so that you can go into a new level and
Mhm.
allow yourself now before God to be ready for the next level of your life. And this is why God is waiting for us, but it has to be our mindset and it has to be what we believe that God can do. And
Absolutely.
so I know people are watching this and they're thinking, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay for you, but what about me? How can I do it? And one of the things that you have done is that you have created a program, and we have created a program because we believe that the kingdom of God is not just in talk, but in action.
Absolutely.
So we heard about the desire, we heard about be willing to study, have the faith in God, and hard work. We need to say hard work too, because
Hard work.
this is
Yeah.
not, you worked hard.
Mhm. Mhm.
And with as a mother and a wife, and you're working hard to study and to shift your mind into areas that you've never even done before. And
Mhm.
so Caroline, we had this program on before, and we had 8,000 people, that are over 8,000 people viewing, and lots of people that are saying, yes, but tell us how, guide us. You had a mentor that helped you. Now, can we come and mentor others into something where they can start a path of their own wealth creation? And as we talk about wealth creation, Caroline, we know about the corruption of money. We know that the Bible says money is the root of all evil, because
Mhm.
money
Mhm.
can contaminate you.
Yeah.
We know that money can be so dangerously demonized to the point where you'll have rich people who
Mhm.
are selling drugs to children. And even though they have a lot of money, millions of dollars of cash, the
Mhm.
greed is so there that
Mhm.
it eats away their life and destroy their conscience. So we know money, it can be the love of money, which
Mhm.
is the lust for money, move
Yeah.
to evil. But then God is looking for people like you that can manage the blessing of wealth, because
Mhm.
God's kingdom need wealth, the poor need help, the
Mhm.
God's church need help. I mean, everything to advance his kingdom needs the wealth. And
Yeah.
this is why he blessed his children with wealth. And
Mhm.
throughout the Bible, you will see where he blessed Abram with wealth, he blessed Isaac and Jacob and David and Esther, because it's so needed for the kingdom. Even
Mhm.
for the launching of Christianity, he
Mhm.
raised up Barnabas, and he raised up the disciples who were fishermen, businessmen,
Mhm.
to establish Christianity, to launch this church, because
Mhm.
God, wealth has an owner,
Mhm.
actually, and Jesus is the owner of wealth. So he is
Amen.
the
Yes.
Lord of wealth,
Lord.
El
Mhm.
Shaddai. So we have developed a program because the ask has been so much, and we're calling it CLASP, CLASP. And CLASP, as I think of it, Caroline, and we're planning to help so many more people, is
Mhm.
that when you think of King Cyrus, that
Mhm.
God called my anointing, he
Mhm.
is my shepherd. And he is going to take care of my victimized people who are in slavery. The
Mhm.
enemy took them out of their land. The enemy stole from them. And he
Mhm.
says, Cyrus will be my anointed. And
Mhm.
this man is not a Christian. We're not talking about a Jew. We're
Mhm.
just talking about a leader with a great heart that
Mhm.
God trust. And he says, I will bless him in every way because he will help my people and he will have a heart for the people. And
Mhm.
so one of the things he said to Cyrus, I will take hold of your right hand. And so
Mhm.
the program that we have created, Caroline, is called CLASP,
Mhm. Mhm.
Chayil Leadership and Success Program, that to clasp the hands of people who
Mhm.
God can trust. And
Mhm.
then we will lead them in a 90-day program that will get not only focus on wealth creation, but
Mhm.
focus on who you are.
Mhm.
And we want people with a heart after God and who
Mhm.
will take care of the poor and who will build and advance his kingdom. That's the whole purpose of it. We have enough people with money, with drugs, and money for themselves. But God is looking for people with money for not only for their sake, but for his sake and for
Mhm.
the people's sake. That's what we're talking about. And so in this class, which is the Chayil, leadership and success planning, we talk about who you are, because who you are will determine with what wealth can even do for you and through you. And the purpose of this is to develop ethical leaders for the common good of society. That is the first thing, who you are, because we just don't want people to get money, to be richer and richer and richer and richer, and nobody benefit from it. But we're talking about purpose-driven wealth. So the leadership component is who you are, to develop ethical leaders for the common good of society. And then that whole program is part of this one great program. And then we have the success planning aspect, where you will literally lead people how to plan their lives financially and start their own business and become secure in their finances. So tell us some of the aspects of that program.
Okay, so the main area is, first of all, and I quite like how you started off with the idea of desire, and it's desire around planning. First of all, looking at your vision. Look, what I like to envisage is someone has to look at their life holistically. So you look, if you do have children, you must plan for key life events, and these key life events could include things like, if you have children, their education, planning for your retirement, planning for your health, all other plans, and including lifestyle, because why not plan to have a bigger, better life? The impact you want to have, all those things are a part of the planning. Now, once you've got your vision, desire all set up, the next thing is practically, what must you do? So this is where now coming up with the idea of making money strategies. So you look at, how do I become a smart investor? So I'm investing in the things that I believe will help me actualize my vision. So you have to understand the different aspects in investment. So you have paper assets, property investments, as a business, including your commodities. And then you identify, which one will I use? Once you're clear with that, understand how you're managing your money day to day. So we'll have a full program on how do you manage your money? How will I manage so that I can, whatever is coming in within, I can make that money grow and channel it towards different things. And of course, the final part is around personal mastery and protecting your money. People learn to make money, they learn how to manage it, never good at protecting it. And you protect it by having an estate plan where you're clear around your estate. If you don't plan that, every government has an agenda on your money. So you better know how you can protect your money and be clear on how your money will work. And so it will be a very holistic approach where we look at all the various aspects. Yes.
And so that's why when we call it the Chayil Leadership and Success Program, it is so apropos, because with Chayil, we're going to look through 7 pillars that will make us successful in a holistic manner. Who you are, your thoughts about yourself, your thoughts about others, wealth creation in godly way, and the wisdom factor, because wisdom is the principal thing. And so it's a holistic school. And it's only 90 days that we're going to be offering, because we are going to take people from a desire. First, if they never had the desire, now they can desire it and dream. But then how do you create the dream so that the dream become a reality? And then if we're talking about somebody who is really struggling right now, Caroline, and they are living in poverty, then we know that the basic need of every person is food, it's shelter, it's medicine, it's education for your children, and all of that needs money for you to even exist, even for you to have clean water. That is part of a survival thing. And so what we will do also is to look at those that are living in poverty, and then we can say, this is how we can help you to find out what is the business seed that you have. Because you never had a business seed. You didn't even know. The man told you about property development and it rang with you. So, as I've been traveling through different nations, we have been helping people to start with what they have to create a business. Some of them are now making beads. Some of them are in sewing. Some of them are in baking. Some of them gardening. And so start where you have, but it's a mindset where we can literally train people to the next level. So this program is called CLASP, Chayil Leadership and Success Program. And we are going to be launching this sometime in May. And so, Caroline, what do you want them to do now? They can email us at chayil@patfrancis.org. And then what would we send to them?
So once you have registered, we will obviously then send you correspondence in relation to the start date of the program and what, the commitment will have to be, because we need to understand there has to be a commitment from yourself and ourselves, what expectations will have to be, and the content of the whole program, and of course, the starting dates. So just be sure to register. We will send out more information and we'll be promoting on both platforms, but be ready, because when you're ready, as Mom Pat will say, when the student is ready, then the teacher appears. So here we are.
Hallelujah. And it's great because you are a great example. No degrees, no university, and yet you're a millionaire and one of the few that was featured as a Black woman, because, we have to think of that too, because it's a male dominated world. And yet you were, the second woman that went on this show, popular show in the UK. God is so good, and he is able to help every one of his children if we are ready for covenant relationship with him. And this is why we call it Chayil Leadership and Success Program, because we're talking about God says, I will bless you, but remember who your source of blessing is, and it is for my covenant sake. So not only for our own families, but to help families. And there are people in villages that you might be the one that God will help to help the village. You were the one that God used to say, Mom, I will now help you. I will help my brothers and sisters. Because in the culture, African culture, everybody help one another. And, in many other cultures too, people help one another. And so you might be just the one that dare to say, I can change, and I can change me, and I can change my world. And so write to me, Chayil@patfrancis.org, and we will send you all the information of how to register and how you can start this program. Or you can, you're going to be watching this on Facebook too. You can make a comment on Facebook, and you can ask questions on Facebook as well. And then we can send you the information. But remember, Chayil, Chayil @patfrancis.org, and we will send you the information. Get ready to go back to school. And like we hear throughout when Caroline is speaking, she pray and she fast, and she pray and she fast. So she did a lot of prayer and fasting, but then God told her, okay, you have fasted and you have prayed. Now it's time to work. Now it's time to step out. And this is your time to step out. So we are believing with you. We are believing for you. And you can send all your comments. Make sure you make all your comments. Make sure you help us, to promote this program and to promote this. And we're going to have some promotional packages as well for you that you can be participating, because the more of us participate is the more people we can help. And I know your heart is not just about you, but is about who else can we invite to a program like this? Because I'm excited to be a part of it. And I'm excited for God to find great people that he can trust with influence and power and wealth to make our world a better place. So God bless you. And remember, we are a Chayil generation.